So quickly we're going to look at the origin of African masks side by side with symbolism and how masks are made and African masks in contemporary culture. Today we will be exploring the rich cultural heritage of African masks and their spiritual significance. The history of African masks date back centuries, maybe thousands of years ago, and they have been an integral part of African culture for many generations. African masks are not just decorative objects but are imbued with deep spiritual meaning, and they are used in rituals and ceremonies to connect with ancestors and spirits and to seek their guidance and protection. Each mask has its unique symbolism and significance, and we will delve deeper into this fascinating world shortly. Now, where do African masks come from? Well, African masks have a rich history dating back to ancient times. They were originally used in religious and cultural ceremonies and were believed to have spiritual powers. The masks were also used as a form of communication between humans and spirits and were often used to convey messages or to ask for guidance. There are many different types of African masks, each with their own unique style and purpose. Some masks were used for healing rituals, while others were used for protection and to celebrate important events such as harvests or weddings. The materials used to make masks varied depending on the region and the purpose of the mask, but commonly included wood, metal, and animal hides. African masks are not just works of art, but also hold great spiritual significance in African culture. Each mask is imbued with specific meaning and symbols that represent different aspects of African spirituality. For example, the use of certain colors and patterns can indicate the presence of a particular spirit or deity. In addition to their spiritual significance, African masks also serve as a way to connect with ancestors and the spirit world. The masks are often used in traditional African ceremonies and rituals, such as funerals and harvests, festivals to honor ancestors and seek the guidance. The art of wearing a mask allows the wearer to embody the spirit of the ancestor or deity being honored. And on a very serious note, I have seen this happen so many times when people put on a mask and it seems like an out of body experience where they become something else, and sometimes they acquire special abilities they did not have, like being able to climb to the top of palm trees and dance up there, or climb roofs and dance, perform crazy acrobatic feats, or run and walk for very long hours, and just perform some out of I've seen a masquerade grab seats with its jaws for very long hours, stuff that would seem really crazy if someone did those uh, on their own. So African masks are typically made from a variety of materials such as wood, brass, bronze, ivory, and textiles. The process of making a mask begins with selecting the appropriate material based on intended use and symbolism of the mask. For example, masks used in initiation ceremonies may be made from wood, while those used in healing rituals may be made from textiles. Once the material is selected, the artisan will begin carving and shaping the mask using a variety of tools such as chisels, knives, sandpapers. Some masks may also be decorated with paint, beads, and other embellishments to enhance their meaning and symbolism. The final step in the process is often to bless the mask with prayers or offerings before it is used in a ceremony or displayed for artistic purposes. And I think this is what makes the mask what is. The difference between a powerful mask and just a decorative mask would be the prayers that activates it, that makes it what it is. Masks oftentimes go through the process of deification, and this is where my advocacy begins from, because there are lots of people who have in their homes as decorative masks items that are activated, and that I think is disrespectful to the culture. And I want to use this video as a medium to invite you, if you have masks hanging around your home whose origin you do not know, masks you have not commissioned by yourself and you have not purchased from the designer, I'd invite you to consider returning those masks back to Africa. Bring them back, because they don't belong in your living room. And if you don't know how, and you can join our Discord server, and on there we can give you directions on how to return the masks, or you can donate them to Cervix Africa, and we will ensure that every single mask received is returned to its rightful place. But please do not hang up activated masks that embody the cultural heritage of a whole people in your living room. That would be unfair and that would be disrespectful. African masks have become a very important part of contemporary culture, with many people incorporating them into their homes as decorative pieces, unfortunately. However, it is important to recognize and respect the cultural significance behind these masks. They are not just mere objects, but symbols of African spirituality and history. In the art world, African masks have inspired many artists, including the neo-impressionist movements. The bold colors and geometric shapes of African masks have influenced the works of artists such as Georges Seurat and Paul Signac. In fashion, African masks have been used as inspiration for clothing designs. Many designers have incorporated African motifs and patterns into their collection, paying homage to the rich cultural heritage of the continent. And I'd like to conclude by saying that we have explored the rich history and significance of African masks, from their origins as ritual objects to their contemporary use in art and fashion. These masks are a testament to the depth and complexity of the African culture and spirituality. It is important that we recognize and appreciate the value of African cultural heritage, including these magnificent masks. By preserving and celebrating this heritage, we can honor the traditions of the past while shaping the future for generations to come.